So when we talk about Azure, way before that, we'll be talking about cloud computing. Since Azure and other cloud, they are what? They are cloud computing providers. Maybe it Azure, AWS, GCP, whatever it is. Whatever you learn, the basic thing is in the basic thing and the common thing in all of this is they are part of cloud computing. So what is cloud computing? So very basic definition of cloud computing is before that I may ask you what is your opinion on cloud computing? What do you mean by cloud computing? Any one of you? No one?
It provides services over the internet,
Correct.
like a VM, storage, disk.
Correct. So it is like if I talk about basic definition is delivery of compute compute resources or compute services over the internet. Delivery of compute services over the internet. Now, what are these compute services called? What are these compute services? You can consider this compute services as
like storage network.
correct. So, general compute, we can say that compute is like uh, memory, storage, storage, processor, all those things. And apart from that, there are some other services as well. Apart from memory, apart from storage, apart from compute, the processor. Apart from that, we have backends, the databases. Then we also talk about identity. We also talk about network. All these services combinedly, they are called compute services. So in the definition, they have given one word called compute services. So all these words combined in compute services. So delivery of compute services over the internet. Now you can, I think for like Raj was saying that he was from non-technical background. So consider this as like Raj, you are using your laptop. Okay. Now, when you purchased your laptop, so what happened? When you go to the shopkeeper, he might have asked you what capacity of computer you want. Okay. So you might have narrated him about your like compute capacity, whatever you want, everything. And according to them, that only he may suggested you a system. Or you might have looked everything over the internet. Okay, I want this capacity of laptop and all those things. So basic thing you have seen was the configuration. Okay. And in the
Yes,
configuration, you might have seen memory of that laptop. Memory means RAM, right? RAM. And what else you have seen? You have seen storage.
SDD,
Storage.
disk, this type.
That is HDD. Okay. Or we also call it as ROM. Okay, you can call it as ROM. So RAM, ROM. What else you have seen? Processor, right? So
Yes,
nowadays, processors are coming, different processors, i3, i5, i7, i9. They are based on some architecture. So processor follows architecture. Processor follows architecture. So architecture means you might have seen the term in the computers, ARM, ARM architecture, x64, x64, x86, right? These are what? These are architectures. Okay. And what is the difference in the architectures here? They follow some kind of technology for building that computer architecture. They follow some kind of technology. For example, in the architecture, in the processor, what is common? What is the main thing of the processor? What is the heart of the processor? What is the heart of the processor? So there is a chip, right? Processing chip. Processing chip. So you might have heard about different names in this. Like you heard in the phone na, nowadays, Snapdragon processor, 786, 800, 8.3, like this. What are those? Those are the processing chips. Those are the processors, right? So inside this processor, there is a processing chip. Now, very limited companies around the world, they design the processors. Like who is common? Intel. Intel is very common company who design the processors. Other than Intel, you will find only Intex who designs the processor. And other than that, you will find maybe this AMD. Apart from these three, have you seen any other company? Intel, Intex, or AMD?
No.
Huh. So Intel, Intel and Intex, they follow the same method to design a processor. They follow the same method. AMD is different method. AMD is different. How it is different? So basically, there is a difference in the nanotechnology using which they design the processors. Okay. So uh, Intel is having this. Their chip is of 10 nm inside 10 nanometers, and AMD bring that chip under 5 nanometers. Okay. Basically, what is this nanometer? You can see very small unit, nanometers. Okay. Apart from that, in 1960s, 40s, this processor, this what is in nanometers now, that was about a room. 1940s, 50s, when they built that processor, that was about a room. Now they are so advanced that they bring that technology to this 10 nanometers. Can you imagine that? What advancement has been done? So it is, and it is very much commendable advancement. So like you purchase this system, now you say you have a client now. Okay. You aim to become a software engineer, you aim to become open a software company. So you have to open a software company. Okay. Software company. So when you open a software company, what you want? You want an office place. Once you have the office place, what do you want? Furnishings. You want the furnishings. Uh, you want, you have to purchase the servers where you will run your workloads. So you have to purchase the servers. You have to purchase the systems, the laptops. Okay. Laptops for whom? Your employees, right? You need employees. And if you have employees, then what do you need? You have employees, you need other things as well. You need transport. Okay. So there are a lot of things you will be needing. You will be having employees, everything you will manage here. So now when you start a software company, your focus was what? Your focus was building a software. I tell you, thousands of companies open every year. Thousands of companies open every year, but only 10 to 15 companies are successfully running after that 1 year. Other than that, after 1 year, lot of companies they shut down the companies. Lot of software engineer they have that in mind. Okay, that they will run a company. Okay, so very basic and common aim should be building software. But why those companies shut down? Because their aim shifts to managing these things. Their aim shifts to managing these things. So it is very difficult to manage these things. Your aim was not managing these things. Aim was building the software only. But you have so much of workload with these things. You are managing the office, you are paying the rent, you are managing that, you are managing those furnishings, managing the servers. There are problem with the servers, problem with the machines, problem with like you have to pay to the employees as well. You have to manage the transport for them, everything. So much of hectic. Definitely your momentum will shift sometime from here to here. Do you agree with me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
of yes.
So, one person comes in the market, one person, and what you are purchasing the server, these servers only, big capacity servers you are purchasing. If you have seen, I don't know if you have seen on-premise servers. I have myself worked in a company where there were on-premise servers. So there are there is a server room itself. Okay, there is a server room, and those are very big processors over there. Okay, some 80 terabytes, 100 terabytes, 500 terabytes, 1 petabyte. So these many capacity of servers were there over there. Okay, generally you won't find that capacity in your purchase when you are purchasing the laptop and your desktop. Okay, so that capacity of servers, because your server is running the workload. You have 10,000 users who are accessing your website, who are accessing your mobile application, who are accessing everything. Like for example, we in that particular company we have three applications. One was the mobile application, one was the this desktop application, and one was the browser application. And they have almost half of the US was the users in that company. So that's why they might having that much of big servers and the server rooms. Okay, so to maintain these servers is a challenge until and unless you are. So that company was running from 1997. So they came a big way now from 97 to 2020, 2022. So they do not have problem managing them because they have resources. But imagine who is opening a company in 2024. There is so much of competition, so much of competition. Tomorrow you are providing a client uh, a software in 1 rupees. Your rival will provide it to you in 50 paise. What will you do? How you will manage? So today it's very difficult. In 97, 2000s, there was no competition. There was no competition. No competition or zero competition, you can say. Only one or two, three companies were there. So they survived at that time. But today it is very hard to survive. So to overcome all these things, some person thought that please do not manage all these things. Instead of you, I will manage the things. Who is that person? So that person is having is opening a data center somewhere. It is a data center. Okay. This is a data center. Data center. Consider that person as Azure. Consider that person. You can consider as AWS and GCP as well. Consider now that person says that you can come and you can use the services and you can pay for what you use. What is that person saying? So Azure, consider that person as Azure, and Azure is saying pay for what you use. Pay for what you use means what you will be using over there? Only services. Only services. And Azure is also saying one thing. Everything physical, everything what is physical will be maintained by us. Maintained by us. So now in this data center, say suppose Azure opens a data center in Pune. Now inside this data center, what they have? They have servers here. They have servers here. And inside these servers, you have racks here. Server racks, we call it server racks. Okay. And inside these server racks, you have different resources. So this is your servers, this server, and these are server racks. Server racks. Now here in these server racks, they have different resources. Consider this as your processor, your memory. Consider this as storage. Consider this as one more server. So consider this can be you can make it as a front end server. Front end means your app application, wherever your application is, say app server, you're running app server here. So this is a server. Sorry, not server, this is a machine. Consider this as storage. Storage. Consider this as another machine running the database. Machine and what it is running? Database. Backend basically. Okay. And this machine is having what? It is running app service. App service. App service means where you deploy the app application. Okay. This is also known as front end. Front end. Front end means generally where user access the application. That is known as front end. And what is this called? It's called as back end, right? Back end. That's what you heard about front end and back end. Front end developer, back end developer. What is that? This is a front end and back end. Okay. Now that Azure providing you these servers on a location, and Azure says that anyone who is connected to the internet, anyone is who is connected to the internet. Anyone means, so Azure mentions the users having, internet. can come and avail these services. Can come and avail these services. Now, can they directly avail the services? So, users having internet can avail these services. But can they directly avail the services? No. So whenever someone provides you services, what do you need? What do
Account.
you need? So
Account.
to avail these services, you need an account and a subscription. Am I right?
Yes.
So anywhere, be it Netflix, be it Amazon Prime, be it anything, wherever you are availing the services of anyone, the OTT provider, the cloud provider, anyone, wherever you are availing the services, everywhere you need a subscription, account and a subscription. So Azure says, okay, you want to create the resources here. We have a portal. We have a portal and we call that portal as an Azure portal. Azure portal. In that Azure portal, they have different services mentioned. Different services. And these are 200 plus services. So what user will do? User will create an account here. So they say to user that create an account and choose a subscription. Create an account and choose a subscription. We'll talk about the number of types of subscriptions later on. Okay. Create an account and choose a subscription. So once the user comes to the portal, so they will create an account and they will choose the subscription. And once they choose the subscription, after that they can create the resources. For example, this is a service. Now this is a type of a compute service. This is a type of a what type of service this is? Compute service. Compute. What type of compute service it is? Say it is a machine. It is a machine. Say it is a machine. So what user can do? User, after creating a subscription, user can create this machine actually. Create this machine. And once he fills up that whole form about creating the machine, form means when you click on this service, you will get a nice form to fill up your requirements. What you will fill in that form? What you will fill in that form?
Like
That
how much amount
in
it is.
which region you want the machine. What is first? You will give the name of the machine. So when you fill the form, in the form, what you will fill? You will fill name. What name of the machine you want. Then region. So now Azure is having more than 37 plus regions around the world. Azure data centers are in more than 30. These data centers are more than 37 plus regions. What are these regions? These regions are geographical locations, basically. Regions means geographical locations. For example, you live in Mumbai. or you live in Bangalore. So that region is considered as South India region. For example, South India. South India. There is a one more region, India West. There is one more region, Central India. Like these, they have divided the region. So according to the growth of the country, they have created the data centers. For example, you go to South American countries. You go to South American countries. You go to Brazil. You go to Argentina. You won't find any data centers over there. Only in whole South America, you have only in Brazil. That's it. So there are more than 11 plus countries in South America. But that part of the world is not that much developed according to the softwares and all these things. Very less businesses like that. Okay. So there are no data centers you will find over there. So wherever it is, like India is becoming a IT hub now, already become India is a IT hub only. So three data centers in India only, 3 to 4 data centers. South India, Central India, West India. Why? Because the IT development is more here. Okay. Similar way, Japan is very small, but you will find Japan East, Japan West, these many locations. Japan is very small, but still you find 3 to 4 regions over there in Japan. Why? Because Japan is so much forward in the technology. Okay. So regions means geographical. So when you fill the form, you will give the name of the machine, then you will give the region. Then what you will give? You will give your specifications, specs. What specs you will give? So in the specifications, you will provide your what kind of architecture you want, what kind of so in the specs you will provide the configurations, what configuration you want. So I want 8 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM. Then I want 1 TB storage. Okay, I want 1 TB storage. Then what type of processor you want? So I want x64 architecture. Okay. Then what type of machine? What type of machine? So you will choose a operating system image. Operating system image. Okay. Now you can choose different distributions. Like you can choose Linux as well. You can choose Windows as well. You can choose Mac as well. Whatever you want, you can choose in the operating system. Like when you install, have you installed any operating system in your laptop or desktop? So what is that? That CD you run, that pen drive you run for installing the operating system. You might have installed Windows 11, Windows 10. What is that? That is the image of the operating. That is inside the pen drive you have that image, and you run that image, and then you install the operating system in your laptop. So those images are provided here from the Azure side. So you fill the form, all these things you fill, and once you fill up the form, what network you want with the machine, what network you want. Okay. So in the network, for example, this is my laptop. When the laptop is being created or manufactured in the factory, they have a chip as well, NIC, network interface card or network interface controller. So that part of my system holds the address of my system. And where is that part? Where you attach that Ethernet cable. On the right hand side, there is a Ethernet cable or LAN cable attachment in your laptop. Am I right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
official.
That is Ethernet port, or inside that there is a chip called NIC, network interface controller. That network interface controller holds the address of your system. So if I open CMD in my system and I run one command, simple command, IP configuration. So my system will show that where it is. My system will show that your adapter name is this wireless LAN adapter you have, and your adapter, that NIC, network interface card, is bind with these IPs at the time of manufacturing. What are these IPs? These are private IPs of my system. These are private IPs, subnet mask, default gateway, all private IPs. So this is IPv4 and this is IPv6. What is IPv4? IPv4 is 32-bit IP addressing system. What is IPv6? IPv6 is 128-bit IP addressing system. Okay. So like this, they have allocated some private IPs over here. Now what you can do, since you have this private IP with your system, you can connect 10 systems in line with your system. And you can create what? You can create a LAN network. And you can allocate those systems IPs from your system only. So you have that much of bandwidth, you have that much of IPs. And all the systems will be connected and can be run by your system only. So that kind of network is a small network. You can create a small network of the systems, and those systems can be controlled by this one system. So that is known as LAN network, local area network. Locally, you created a network among the systems. That is local area network. So these are the IPs provided. So similarly, as the IPs are provided to your system, private IPs, similar way, Azure is also saying that you can choose your network, what network you want, what IPs you want, what series of IPs you want. Suppose my laptop has been given series 192. Okay. So you can give 10 series as well. 10 series. So 10 series means starting from 10.0.0.0. You can take 10 series slash 16. 10 series. Then 172 series. I'll explain you this also, how this came, okay, in the networking. 172 series. So 172 dot 31 dot 0.0 slash 16 is 72 series. Okay. And 192 series. This is 192.168.0.0 slash 16. It can be slash 16. It can be then since this is 32-bit IP addressing system, the number should be less than 32. Okay. It can be 16, it can be 18, it can be 20, it can be 22, it can be 24. But it should be always less than 32. And in this series, how many IP addresses will be there? So whatever someone asks you, if this is the series, what is the IP? Slash 16 is the series. So since it is a 32-bit IP addressing system, 32 minus 16. What is the number?
16.
So do 2 to the power of 16. What is the remaining number 2 to the power of 16? What is 2 to the power of 16?
32.
2 to the power of 16, not 2 into 16. 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 4. What is 2 to the power?
65,536.
Correct. 536. These many IPs you will be having in one series. So these many IPs means you can create these many systems inside this network. You can create these many systems inside this network. Okay. So they are giving you choices. While filling up the form, you can choose your network also. Now, since this network is not physically binded to your system, because your system is not physical, your system is what? Your system is virtual, right? Your system is virtual, no? For you, it is virtual. It is not physical because system is provided by whom? By Azure in their own data center. You are just connecting to that system. You are just creating and connecting to it. So this type of network, we call it as a virtual network. So what you will be creating here? A virtual network. Once you fill up all these forms, all these details, they will allocate you system according to it. Azure will allocate you a system. So as per the details, Azure will allocate a system. As per the details provided, Azure will allocate a system or a machine to you, and that will be called as a virtual machine. Why you call it as a virtual machine? Because it is virtually available. You will be connecting your machine over the internet, and you will be accessing your machine over the internet. Over the internet. So now, is there any need to purchase and maintain all these things? When someone is providing you all these things at their own cost, they will only charge you cost of running these resources. That's it. You don't have the headache to maintain all these things. Even they say that you want to purchase, don't purchase a system as well. Don't purchase it. Create a system with us. Choose a subscription. Create a system with us, and whatever you, for example, you create a machine for yourself. You are working on something. Just go to portal, create a machine, use it. If you don't want it, delete it. Whenever it is not in use, stop it. They will not charge it. They will only charge for that runtime whenever you are running your machine. For example, you run your machine in whole month, you run it for 1 hour only. So they will charge for that 1 hour only. That's it, nothing else. So when these kind of services anyone is providing, why anyone will open their business working on the on premises? Why they will manage? So nowadays, every business that is running on everything is third party. Everything is any business you see, any business, not only software. So when we talk about software, what is there? What you are doing now? You are just managing your business. Resources are provided by third party cloud provider. Your client is having its own, and whatever you're creating for client here, for example, you're creating a software for the client. So nowadays, client only bears the money for this as well. So I'll sit with the client. I'll say I'll use these resources in the Azure. So client will ask me what these resources will cost me. So client is having the subscription. Everything is with the client only. I'm just going in his system and creating a software and providing him the software, and that too I'm charging for that as well. So every cost is beared by the client only, mostly. What we are just bearing, we are giving salaries to employees, laptops, right? And office space if required. If required, I'm saying. If you have a small company like 20 people, 25 people, no need of an office. Ask everyone to work from home. No need of an office. So
Interest.
they will log in with their own
Uh,
system. Come again.
Sorry, it's
Believe me, I have worked in one company. So with my personal laptop, whatever I'm teaching you, I have used this laptop for 1.5 year in that company. They were not providing the laptops. Believe me. Though they were giving a good salary, but they said, no, no, we will not provide a laptop. You have to use your own laptop.
Yeah, from but myself also like same. So like I use my own
It
personal
was a
laptop.
company in Bangalore. So yeah, they said that you will work in your own laptop. So they binded my laptop with some security and all. So I was not able to use my laptop for many things then. So they binded my laptop with the security and all. Okay. But they said that you have to use your own laptop. We will not provide. So anyone who is in need of the job, they will definitely do the job, right or wrong?
Yes.
Yes. So that's what nowadays cloud providers are there. So this is what providing these resources, these all resources, these 200 plus resources, providing it over the internet in the data center. These resources are located over the data center somewhere. And these data centers are not small. These are not small. They are very big data centers, over 1 square kilometer, 2 square kilometers, 3 square kilometers, that much big data centers they have. They will never run out of capacity. They have so much of capacity. So this is cloud computing, delivery of compute services over the internet, and you can use those services. Now there are different models in the cloud. So we'll talk about cloud models. Cloud models. So what type of cloud? Now we understood what is cloud now. You are using these services over the internet, that is cloud. You are not using your own services. So that is cloud. So cloud is clear. Now what type of cloud models are there? So private cloud.
public, private, and hybrid.
Private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud,
Multi-cloud.
multi-cloud. Yes. So these are the four types of cloud models which are there. Now, before this, I told you there are 200 plus services in Azure. So I'll just take you 2 minutes to Azure. Okay. So there's a website like portal.azure.com. I'll tell you how to create an account. Okay. Do not create, if someone has not created the account straight away, please do not create any account at the time when we are learning fundamentals for straight 8 to 9 classes. Do not create account, because otherwise you will lose your you will lose your this 30-day free period. Okay, free trial period. So in the 30-day free trial period, Azure gives you a free trial with $200. Okay, so if someone has not created the account, do not create it now until and unless I say. Okay, whomsoever is created, they can use it, but if someone has not created, do not create it now in the fundamentals. Otherwise, you will lose 15 to 17 days in that 30 days free trial. So this is portal.azure.com. Now, if you go to the left hand side here, left hand side, you can see, if you click on all services, it will display the types of services here. Now, they have categorized the services. For example, if you are learning machine learning and AI, some course you are doing for machine learning and AI, So these many services, there are 22 services which supports machine learning and AI. So whenever you will attend a class for machine learning and AI, they will teach you with these services. Azure Machine Learning, Azure AI Service, AI Search, AI Studio, Speech Service, Bot Service. You seen in different website, you seen the chat bot, right? When you go to the website, there is a chat bot appears on the right hand side, right? Right or wrong?
Yes, it.
That is a bot service. That is an AI service. Face APIs. Some face will appear and you will it will check for the details and all face APIs. So there are so many in AI and translators, speech services means, like for example, you want some input from the user, but you want it like user can speak and they can give the input, speech services, right? All these things, like in there is a Google speech. When you open Google, you can even speak and search in the Google. What is that? Speech service. Okay. So 22 services in AI. Similar way for analytics, for data analytics, for data science, there are other 22 services. Analysis, Apache Flow, data factories, data lake storage, Azure Data Bricks. What are these? These are data analytics services. So 22 services for data. So when you will be doing the course for data science and all, they will use these services. Now here comes our services, what we will be using, compute services. So compute fleet, availability services, community images, templates, lab accounts, images, then Azure Virtual Desktop, virtual machine scale set, virtual machines. Virtual machine means single system. Okay, you can create. Virtual machine set, skill set means creating number of machines at a time. You can create 2 machines, 3 machines, 4 machines, 5 machines. You can create a group of machines. That is virtual machine skill set. Okay. Application definition, application versions, image definition. There are a lot of app services. Okay. Kubernetes services, container services, function services. Kubernetes services here. Azure Arc service. Okay. Even for if you are not working in this, if you are working in other field like SAP, you know what is SAP?
Yes.
So they have the databases for SAP as well. SAP HANA database, SAP HANA on Azure. SAP services for SAP also they have this. Okay. So other container services. Now we will be using compute services plus container services. So we'll be using container service as well, like container instances, container registries. Okay. Then we will be using DevOps services here. All DevOps services we'll be using since we will be learning Azure DevOps. So DevOps. So compute, containers, DevOps, and some services from this general. So there are 22 services, general services. Okay. And some services are hybrid plus multi-cloud services. Multi-cloud means they are working on with the collaboration with other clouds as well. That's why multi-cloud. And hybrid means they can be public and private both. Okay. So hybrid services. And then comes the identity services. So there are 18 services in the identity management. Identity management means Active Directory and all. Everyone knows what is Active Directory?
Yes.
Yes, Abhishek.
Okay. So identity services, like, okay. So earlier the name was Azure Active Directory. Now they have changed the name to Microsoft Entra Connect. So whatever you have your Active Directory in the on-premise server, so they have Azure Active Directory first. The same Active Directory they have on Azure. Okay. But they have renamed it to Microsoft Entra Connect. Okay. Integration. So there are some integration service. You can integration with some third parties. Okay. Integration service. Integration with your applications which are deployed in the servers. Then anyone who is working on the IoT, Internet of Things. So you have IoT services here. 20 IoT services. Then management and governance. Management and governance. So 40 services for managing the resources and governing these resources, whatever you have seen above. And 5 for migration services, 3 for mixed reality, 24 monitoring services. You are monitoring your application, you are monitoring your infrastructure. So for monitoring, there are 24 services. For networking, there are 38 services, DNS, VNet, virtual network, subnet, everything, public IPs, firewalls. For security, there are 21 services. For web and mobile applications, you have 26 services. So you can use these services to develop your mobile apps and web applications. Okay. These are the more than two, if you count all these combinedly, more than 200 plus services. And whatever type you want, wherever you are using, that kind of service you can use. Okay. So these are the overview of all the services here. And whatever is important for Azure DevOps, we'll be checking those services in our course. Okay. Suppose if you do course for AI and machine learning, then you might be able to see these services if they are teaching in Azure. If they're teaching in AWS or GCP, then that is different. But if you're teaching in Azure as a cloud technology, then you will use these services in AI and machine learning course. So for different courses, they have different services to support. And if you go to these are recent searches, whatever you see, the services you see over at the top, these are the recent ones. Okay, whatever I might have searched for, those services are there. Okay, these are also the recent ones. Now, for example, this is you see virtual machine. Just click on it, and the form I was talking about is that form. When I click on this, I create a virtual machine. So this is the form. This is the form you fill up. Once you fill up form and create, click on create. So choose the resource group. What is the resource group? So resource group is nothing but it's a kind of a boundary. So in which you create number of resources. So inside the resource group, they have created one boundary and inside an environment where you can create number of resources or keep your number of resources. That is resource group. So resource group contains resources. Okay, nothing else. So inside a resource group, you can create 10 virtual machines, 20 virtual machines. And say, for example, those virtual machines belong to the same project. You can keep them in one resource group, no issues. Okay. So grouping of resources, that is resource group. So whenever you are creating a resource, you have to put that resource in a resource group inside the subscription. So consider subscription as a principal of the school and resource group as a teacher in the school. So teacher will handle one class here. Okay. So you can consider like that. Okay. Virtual machine, you can give the name of a virtual machine. For example, I can take any name here. Region, where you want to create machine, you can choose. See, these many regions are there. East US, East US 2, Central US, Israel, Qatar, Brazil, UAE, Mexico, Switzerland, Spain, Poland, Norway. You can take any. For example, suppose you choose East US. So the machine will be created in the East US data center region. You can choose You can choose South India, Asia Pacific region. We call it as Asia Pacific region, South India. Because Asia Pacific countries, they do not have the data centers. Here in these many countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, okay, these many countries, only India is having the data centers. So that's why we call it as a Asia Pacific data center. Just give me 1 minute. Hello. Huh. So some more people join. So you can provide the name, the region, availability zone. I'll explain you the concept of the availability zone. Okay. Security. What kind of security you want? Standard or what? Okay. What image you want? This OS image I was talking about. So you can choose Windows image, Linux image, You can choose the image of the operating system. Okay. Whatever images you want. For example, I choose Windows 11 or I choose Windows Server 2019, Windows Server 2022. See, Windows Server 2022. So I can choose accordingly. And this is the marketplace. Marketplace means different providers provide their own images. For example, this Windows Server 2019 is provided by Integral Incorporation. SQL Server image is provided by Microsoft. And you can see a difference. Whatever image is provided by Microsoft itself, they are not charging for that. There is no charge here. No charge, no charge. But if any other corporation apart from Microsoft is providing any image, they are charging here. See, there's a charge for the image. So even you can come at a marketplace. You can have your own, you can create your own edition of operating system and you can provide it. No issues. See, Linux is an open operating system. Anyone can make changes. They can have their own flavor of Linux operating system. And unlike Windows, Windows is a license operated, right? But Linux is not license operated system. Anyone can have, even you can have, you can recreate Linux with your own flavor and you can provide the image of Linux here. Okay, so that's why this is called as marketplace here. You can choose the image, any image. For example, I've chosen this one. So now I'll be using that image here. Okay. Choose the architecture. ARM64 is not supported with that image. So I have to choose x64 only. Okay. Size of the machine. Size I told you about what. So these are the specific code about the sizes. DS1, D2, DS2, V3, B2. These are the codes. So what they have accordingly, like D1S means one core CPU. 2 means 2 core CPU. 4 means 4 core CPU. Okay, so like this 3.5 RAM, 8 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM. Accordingly, these sizes they have, these series, A series, B series, C series, D series, E series. You can choose your machine accordingly. And here it is given upfront cost as well of running that machine. Okay, upfront cost as well for running that machine. So this is how you can choose. Or suppose you choose DS1V2. You can give the username for your machine. You can provide the password for your machine. And if you are creating a Windows machine and you have a existing Windows license, sometimes what organization do, they purchase bulk licenses, bulk Windows licenses. So you can use that Windows license here as well. You don't have to pay extra for that. Okay. Just click on here and you can provide your own license ID and all. Then you can choose the disk of your system, operating disk, data disk, like you have in your system. Like for example, you go to this PC in your laptop, there's a C drive. What is that C drive? Operating system disk. What is the D drive, E drive? Data disk. Similar way you have here, operating system disk. In what capacity of operating system disk you want, where the operating system will get installed. So operating system disk, you choose the capacity. You choose what type of disk you want. Nowadays, people are very fascinated towards when they purchase laptop, I want SSD, solid state drive. Why? Because it is fast. No one wants HDD or SSD. Sorry, HDD. So everyone wants SSD. So here you can choose at one click what you want, SSD, HDD, whatever. And that will be created. In the networking section, you can choose your network, what virtual network you want. You can click, you can accordingly, you can take the series of the virtual network. I want 192 series. So I can do this like 192.168. So I'll be getting that series here. Like I have in my personal laptop, 192.168. That is the series. Some laptop might have 10.0.0 that series. Okay. So this is the series. And these many IP addresses they will provide me in this series. Okay. So virtual network, you can provide a subnet. So at least you need a one subnet here. So you can provide like 192.168.0.0/24. Here you should provide the name of the subnet, and here you should provide the range. You can create. This is your VNet, this is your subnet. Then there is a public IP you can create. How we get public IP for our system? So we get the public IP from our internet provider. For example, you are connected to me with this Zoom call. So how you are getting? You are connected through an IP, public IP. So if you search for my IP address here, see my IP provider, see this is my public IP. Who is providing this public IP to me? So I have Geo Fiber. So Infocom is provided, my internet service provider. You can check yours in the Google. You can put my IP address. They will show your IP address, both 32-bit as well, 128-bit as well. IPv4 as well, IPv6 as well. But this is temporary. As soon as shut down my system, tomorrow I may have been allotted another IP. Because these IPs are limited. These cannot be replicated. Means same IP cannot be used any other. This should be unique. Public IP should be unique. Okay. It should not be uh, reused. Okay. This should be unique. But same IP I can have, private IP I can have, because this is within my system. And Raj also can have in his system the same IP. Uday also can have the same IP in his system. Because this is limited, this is private IP address. This is limited to this system only, my laptop only. There will be no conflict. Why? Because this is unique within my system. No need to be unique within, like around the world. Okay. But public IP means it should be unique around the world. That is public IP. So how they get these public IPs and all? So like you have for your private IP, like you have this space, IP space. Similar way, these internet service providers, they purchase the IP spaces from the government and then they allocate it to you. Okay. What they call is the bandwidth and all. They purchase. There is an auction, right? And they purchase some for 2000 crores, 3000 crores, 4000 crores. They purchase that, uh, okay, from the government and then they provide it to you. So that is what. So similar way, you can provide the input for this machine and you can create your machine. Provide, if you want monitoring and all, you can provide everything here and create. Now it will be showing validation failed because I have missed some information. I have not provided the whole information. For example, I can provide the password here. Then it will not show error. Now I go to review and create. So what it will do, it will review whether whatever you have given the information, whether it is correct or not, everything. So once reviewed, you can see the upfront cost. No cloud provider provides you the upfront cost. Azure gives you the upfront cost before creating the machine. Okay, 10 rupees per hour will be charged for the machine and 1.2 for the license of that machine. Okay, so 12 rupees, around 12 rupees you will be charged for this machine per hour. So for example, you have to use this machine for 2 hours, 3 hours. Similar kind of management can be done like you go to cyber cafes to use the machine 10 hours, 10 years before, 15 years before. We used to go to cyber cafes if we have to perform some work because we were not having any systems at our home or something. We pay according hourly charges, right? 20 rupees per hour. So if I sit in a cyber cafe straight away for 3 hours, that will be costed 60 rupees per hour. Now, cloud providers are providing you the machine at your home. You can connect with your tablet, you can connect with your mobile, no issues anywhere. Okay, so you can create this machine. So now I think Raj, you were saying that you are from the non-technical background. You might be having not issues, any issues with understanding all these things, right?
No, no, it is very clear.
Yes. So, so we were talking about cloud models, right? Private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud. Okay. Very simple, very, very simple. Okay. First, I'll talk about public cloud. Public cloud means anyone can come to that particular cloud model and they can use the services. Can anyone tell me any example of public cloud? So before that, I can write anyone can come and use these services here.
For example, Facebook or any website.
That is not cloud. That is a website. No, I'm talking about
Okay.
cloud.
Okay.
AWS, Azure.
Ah, correct. So anyone can come and use the services by paying some cost. So example is whatever we are learning, that is the example. Azure, AWS, GCP. These are third-party cloud providers. Third-party cloud providers. That is, we call it public cloud. Public means anyone can come, create their account, use the services. That is public cloud. What is private cloud?
Oracle.
Private means I was talking about on-premises, right? On-premises means I have an office. I have an office. I'm developing a software. I have a software company. I'm running a software company. I have an office. In that office, what do I have? In that office, I have servers. In that office, I have servers. Can anyone from the public come in and use my services?
No.
No, right? Because that is in my office, that is private to me. That cloud is private to me. No one can use. So, very simple thing. No one can use these services from outside the organization means that person should be the part of the organization, then only they can use. What about hybrid cloud?
Combination of private and
When you
public.
combine these two, okay, public and private, when you combine these two, that becomes hybrid. Means some websites you are running on the public cloud. I'll give you an example as well. Say this is my organization. Okay. Now there are different teams in my organization. There is a IT team, there is a transport team, there is a HR team, there's a marketing team, marketing or sales, you could say, sales. Okay, different teams in my company. So there is a common website, common portal. Portal means, so I have created a website which is common for all. That is a common portal. So here my employees can manage. So employees can manage. What they can manage? Their account. Their account. What account? They can manage their leaves. They can manage their mm, they can download the salary slips. They can mm, apply attendance. So who can do? Everyone in my company can do that, right? Right or wrong? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
So what I'll do, I'll host this website in a public cloud since everyone is using it. But I have to deliver something to client. I have to create a website for the client. So I'll be creating a separate cloud for running those services, which is used by the client because I'm creating that software for the client. So who can use this? Not all the people from the company can use this cloud. Only the IT people will be using. Which IT people who will use? So the developers will use, testers will use, operations team will use. So what is here? Here we have servers, right? What servers we have here? So these are servers. What are these servers? So say suppose this is front end, this is back end. Front end server. Front end means running, say, app service. Okay, app service is running in the machine. And this is back end. Back end means database. DB server. DB server. This is my app server. Okay. So can I give access to everyone in my company to these servers?
No.
No, right? So who is responsible to manage these service? My IT team, developers, testers. So I'll give access to those people only. So in a way, you can see that this website which is accessed by everyone in the company that can be hosted publicly, and the website which is used by only developers that can be accessed by only the IT team. So this can become your public cloud. in the same organization, and this can become your private cloud. Sorry, public cloud. Sorry, this is public. Wait. Let me. So this becomes the private cloud, and this becomes your public cloud. This becomes your public cloud. So this is called hybrid. Now, some companies are big companies, like we have. So in our company, I'll give you an example. As per the client need, as per the need of the user, we use all the clouds. If our client asks to create services in AWS, we use AWS. If our client asked to create services in Azure, we create services in Azure. If our client asks to create services in GCP, we use GCP. If our client asks to use some on-premise third-party services, on-premise, we have on-premise as well. So all the type of that much of big company it is. Okay. And almost we are in Azure. And why we are using? So we trust Azure for infrastructure services. Because Azure provides good infrastructure services. Okay. For example, virtual machines. So we have around 60,000 virtual machines running in our organization. 60,000 virtual machines. Why I know that? Because as handling the DevOps team and all, we have all those informations. No other team have access to all the subscriptions in the organization. There are more than 3,000 subscriptions in the organization. 3,000 subscriptions plus subscriptions. And more than business of they use more than $20 million. $20 million bill they pay every month. So that is what. So AWS, Azure, GCP, and on-premise, everything they are handling in my company. So it's a big MNC. Okay, it's a big MNC. That's why. Otherwise, you won't find. Otherwise, when I was working in a small company, they were not providing their laptop only. I was working with my own laptop. Okay, so these are the different cloud models. Now, there are some other things as well. So we'll discuss in the next class. You can go through the recording once, understand it. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It,